Hello, my name is Orion Art. I'm an anti-adult artist. I do illustration based around the themes of body modification, corruption, creators, tentacles, etc., etc., all the good stuff. So I wanted to take the time to do and redo actually a little vlog video to give some news and perspective about my situation to my patrons and followers. So first off, I wanted to say thank you to my subscribers, because in these hard times with the COVID thing and confinement and all that stuff, it has been quite hard to make meets end, as we say, and Patreon has been my main source of revenue, and even if it's not that much, I've been able to secure myself a bit of money to not be on the street. I'm not exactly living the high life, but I can eat and I can eat, and I have a roof on top of my head, which is not insignificant. All right, so now that's out of the way, let's talk about the program, the plans, and what's going to happen in the weeks to come, in the months to come. So first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that I'm preparing to progressively leave Patreon. No, before you panic, if you're a patron, if you're a follower, don't worry, you don't have to change anything. And I plan to use Patreon as long as I can. The thing is that when I see what happened recently with the Owen Benjamin, if I'm not mistaken, case, the lawsuit that, so Owen Benjamin is a Patreon user, creator, and he entered a lawsuit, and I think it's a group lawsuit with his fan against Patreon, and he won something. I'm not exactly sure of the legal details. I've shared in the past a Riccatello, I'm not sure about the name, but a video that synthesizes it. You can find it, I think, pretty easily on YouTube. But basically, Patreon has lost this lawsuit, which will cost them a lot of money, apparently. And also, Patreon has been bad and naughty with adult content recently. They've banned a lot of creators for increasingly shallow reasons, as far as I'm concerned. So it's not unreasonable, or it's not surprising that they would have an issue with adult content. It's something that I consider to be perfectly normal and to be expected, because adult content is serious stuff. It's not something that you want everybody to see. It's a bit touchy, and I can understand that perfectly. The issue with Patreon is that they have a tendency to be very sensitive about the way they will define things, and this is what happened recently. They've banned a bunch of creators because of the interpretation that they've put on their work, and the creators were artists, illustrators, so we don't talk about real photos or anything. We talk about fictional characters and fan art and that kind of stuff. And I know that some artists have been banned because what they draw is a bit too close to what might be interpreted as young people, so basically kids. And so it will be pedopornographic content, according to the people of Patreon that looked at their work. Despite the defense of these artists, as usual, the relationship between creators and platforms like that is a bit shady, and it's hard to get hold on people. And it's even more disturbing when we see that Patreon is it's not like Twitter or Facebook or even YouTube. It's actually a platform when you make a significant amount of money for a lot of people. As I said at the start of this video, my main source of revenue is Patreon, and so if Patreon decides to ban me like that, it would be quite hard for me to. It would be a significant blow in my life. So I'm preparing to leave Patreon. The main contender for Patreon is Subscribestar. I already have a Subscribestar page set up. That you can go. All tiers are there. I'm just dealing with the last administrative stuff that I need to deal with in order to finalize my the whole thing for the payments and payouts and all that. But as a user, as a potential fan, you can go on Subscribestar. You can subscribe, and you can have access to content, you can have access to archives, you can have access to updates, you can have access to most of the stuff. The big difference between Subscribestar and Patreon is that as of yet, I'm not aware of any integration for my website that I could use to use Subscribestar. So until now, I mean, so far I could restrict certain posts on my page on my website and make them only available for patrons, which is not something I think I can do for with Subscribestar. So that's something I'll have to deal with. I'll have to change a bit. I will have to change some things in the way I work with Subscribestar compared to Patreon, but it's not so big of a deal because Subscribestar allows to host images on their website, even if it's adult content, which is not the case of Patreon, which is why in the first place I decided to create a website. So it might not be a big of a deal, and ultimately doesn't mean much for subscribers. It's just me. I have to figure some stuff out. So as I said, everything stays the same for you. If you're a patron, you can stay on Patreon. If you want to go on Subscribestar, you can go on Subscribestar. Tiers are the same, prices are the same, so you get the same things. Anyway, so next point. The biggest change is that I'm going to work more with Discord. So Discord is going to become probably the main platform I'm going to use with my website, and I'm going to centralize things a lot more. So if you subscribe to my stuff via Patreon or Subscribestar, you receive access to specific roles on my Discord server, which is Corrupted Star Systems. And these roles give you access to channels that are related to what the tiers offer you. So it's very straightforward. It's very simple. For example, if you are an archiver, you have for $9 a month, you have access to all the art I made. Well, the link for the archives is available on a Discord channel on my server that you can see if you have the right role. So it's very straightforward, very simple. It's even maybe more simple and more easy to use than if you were a patron or a Subscribestar follower. It's more easy to navigate, and it's more easily. I mean, it's more easy to navigate. So I would recommend you to check that out, to go on the Discord to see if everything works for you, because I'm setting up everything. Normally it should be good, but as nobody really tested it out yet, I want to be sure that everything is set up properly and that you all have a fantastic experience with all my stuff. So definitely go check that out. The thing that will change in regard to habits is that I will, from now on, make all my polls on Discord. So it means that if you are not a Discord user, you should get used to it. You should maybe download the app or anything. And if it's really a big problem, tell me if you prefer to stay on Patreon, if you prefer Subscribestar, if you prefer Discord. Tell me in the comments. Don't hesitate to comment, to ask questions and all that in the comments of this video, wherever I will post it. I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities, and I want to test out the waters to see if everybody is on board for this little change. So from now on, polls will be on Discord, and every time a new poll will arrive, I will announce it on all the platforms. So it's just you will see it if you use Patreon. You will see the poll on Patreon. You will see that I make a poll. I will share that on Patreon, but it will redirect to Discord. So it's very simple, very straightforward. The system is exactly the same. Credits, the rules about voting is exactly the same. You get numbers of credit depending on the amount of money you have pledged, etc., etc. Now that's out of the way. Next point. So I've improved the website a bit. If you go check it out, you will see that it looks different. It's simpler, it should be easier to navigate, and it's just sexier to look at. So nothing really fancy, because I'm not a web developer, so I work alone, and I just use very basic tools in order to improve it and to have something a bit more interesting, visually speaking, instead of the stuff I had in the past. In the future, I will probably work with web developers to improve the website. I've got a bunch of ideas that I would like to implement, like for example, but it's just like an idea right now, so don't get too excited. It will be like sort of a character creator that would change depending on the mutation that you choose. So it's like a simulator for the pulse. And I might, improve that system with time. For example, prepare it to be used for Crescent Neomorph or that kind of stuff, where you have a character and then you can choose mutations. Mutations change the stat, and visually you see the changes happening on the character. So I even think about maybe developing that app myself, but I have no knowledge of programming, so I need to teach myself all that, and it takes quite some time. I'm quite busy right now. I've got a lot of stuff to deal with. So it's a plan. I don't know I don't know when I will work that out and when it will be done, but I keep that as an idea. So in terms of projects, and this is the last point that I want to talk about in this little video. In terms of project, I'm working on a commission, and I'm thinking about reopening commissions soon. The commission in question is a male to female transformation and a cybernetization, so a man become a female cyborg. And there's a bunch of other good stuff that you'll have the occasion to discover soon. If you want to see my progress on that artwork, you can go check that out on Picarto TV. I've started recording a bunch of sessions, and I already have advanced on the images. While I'm working on that set, on that commission, I've put the Zelda comic on pause, as I usually tend to do. I make small sets and then I keep on working on big project, and then I pause the big project as I progress on small sets, so I can have a regular output, and I can make a regular pulse and give you regular content instead of being out for like a month and then dropping something and then being out for a month. So the Zelda fan art, the Zelda comic, which is the biggest project I've ever done so far, it's going to be a fully fledged 30 pages long comics when it will be all finished, it's a pretty big project, and I'm still dealing with the issue of copyright infringement. I had some issues on Patreon, nothing very big, nothing very really bad. It's not like I'm in a lawsuit or anything, but it's just that I've had to delete a bunch of links, and now I'm thinking about ways I could prevent that from happening when the project will be fully finished. Does that mean that I have to change a lot of the designs of the drawings, and go back to part 1 and change the drawings? I don't know yet, but it's still in progress. I'll probably change at least the names, so if you see strange names or strange spelling of the names of the character, it's why it's not supposed to be happening in the Zelda universe, even though they are very clearly Zelda characters. Despite that, the work is still going on for that project. Tsukaya is still working on the colors. He should be finishing page 8 soon. While I have finished the pencil of page 10 that I will share in an update with this video, and is available for patrons on my website and on patrons and subscribers in general. So that's pretty much all I had to say today. I hope that this video wasn't too contrived to listen to. I prepare my text a little bit, but I don't rehearse it too much, and I go live, so to say. So I don't plan to edit much either. I'm going to add maybe some little effects to make it a tad more interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. Thanks for listening, and see you next time. Bye bye.